So frizzy. Oh, high five. Yay.
Is anybody joining?
Not yet, but we are there.
If you build it, it'll
Yes.
maybe.
We'll see. Really trying.
Flight's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Flies with sunlight.
They actually feed you
Yeah, they do.
national points.
European flight.
Okay, gang, it is 4:31. Why don't we start the meeting? Welcome, everybody. Glad to see y'all. Mark, good to see you again. Molly, have a good time on your vacation, and the rest of us will just be around.
Those silly brains.
Okay, minutes. Everybody's got the minutes. I'll give you 1 minute to do the minutes. Then I will accept the motion. What are you laughing at? Nothing is ever for sure until it's done. Thank you for sending out a newsletter.
Yeah,
I haven't had a chance to read it yet.
it looks great.
I'm glad. I want to leave the dates here, but I was actually talking with Ali from Eastern about how the constant contact and that shrimp is always so rectangular. Everything was, we were both talking about it. It's like one of the directions. Because like they use constant contact, we use no shrimp. I did all like that.
My wife hates rectangular. She wants it lines.
Who does?
His wife.
Okay. So I have a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Second? Matt? All those in favor, by saying aye. Aye. Same, opposed, same.
Aye.
All right.
Minutes are.
Who is that?
Hey,
Looks like just got off vacation person.
how are you guys? Sorry, I'm a few minutes late.
No worries.
Okay, treasurer's report.
All right, if everybody could take one and pass it on. Start this way. Did fold over corners because I forgot to staple at the office. So as a quick, this will be review for those of you who are longtime professional board members, but our balance sheet shows the total amount of financial value our organization has right now, and that includes accounts receivable, so invoices we put out that were not paid yet as of May 1st. You'll see those are pretty significant this month because most of our quarterly invoices got paid in June. There are a couple of longtime stragglers I'm still waiting from DEM, but overall, most of those have gotten paid since. It also counts some of the value of some of the building upgrades we've made at Snake Den Farm, counts as a fixed asset, which I know might seem a little weird because we don't own the farm, but our accountant said that that is what you do.
You own the improvements.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know how we take them with us if we leave. But anyway, and it compares it to last year. So you can see our value as an organization has gone up a little bit since last year. A good chunk of that is the Snake Den Farm leasehold improvements. We've also grown a little in the amount of agreements we have because we have two new big ones that we didn't have a year ago. The Inflation Reduction Act, or IRA, Technical Assistance Grant to help work with farmers, and also the USDA 2501 grant program, which is outreach to underserved producers. So everything's as expected here. And then the profit and loss, you can see what this fiscal year, so last July 1st until May 31st, we have taken in and spent on all of our grants. And many of our grants do involve a little bit of overhead. So you will notice that currently our net income for the year is at around $37,000. That's the typical swing. We're usually either up around 40 or down around 40. This makes me think we might be down for the fiscal year since we were up at the end of May. I was trained by the previous district manager. That is typical for this organization and within the normal swing of things based on the invoicing.
Well, gross profit's gonna tell us something, aren't they?
What are they gonna tell us?
Audit.
Oh, I don't think we're gonna hit it this year. Last I checked, we were not at 750,000. Because our total grant income of it's close though, huh? 734,000.
Is very-
A lot of over $100,000 of that is Providence Water, which is not federal money. So that's the big reason. And then there's a couple of other non-federal small ones. Welcome, Kate. But the big one is Providence Water, which accounts for 50,000 of this totally. So
Okay, well, we keep our fingers crossed we don't hit that level.
yeah, I don't think we will, but you're right, it's close. All right.
Move we accept the financial report file.
Second? Hey, Matt,
I thought you said.
you are number two.
No,
I don't do it unless I have to.
I thought treasurer's report didn't need a second.
It really doesn't, but since Mark motioned it, then we might as well have a second.
Got it.
Okay, I move that to audit. All right, old business update on purchasing the house.
That's you.
Yeah, I can do that. I contacted Ken, who brought Troy Langneck, I guess is the way you pronounce it, into the situation, because she would know better than he does, and he knew nothing. Never heard of anybody who wanted to buy something out from under the state. So he wasn't sure whether they could do that even, or if in fact they had to send it out to bid or anything else. And I contacted Troy, and she got back to me today, as a matter of fact. And she said, I don't know. She says, I'm kicking it up the ladder, and she says, I'll let you know when I know something. And so there's kind of where we stand. I also had a lunch with Pooh today, which I won't get into in a moment, but made me think also that, not that I don't think buying the house is a good thing, because I think in the long run it very well might be. But one very important part we got to think about is what happens if or when, because I know that Pooh will retire eventually. And I think it's getting pretty much closer and closer. That is totally up in the air what happens to us. Because if a new DC comes in and doesn't like the districts, and there are a number of those out there in the world, we could be left without a lot of NRCS money. I think because it's the state of Rhode Island, and because NRCS will never be able to do all their own work, we'll always have something, but how much is another question. So, I don't know whether anybody thought about it between the last meeting and this. Have any thoughts on the matter, or you want to throw them out there for now? Please.
Which matter?
Huh?
Which matter?
About buying the house.
What does it have to do with food?
Well, because Pooh has been very good to us.
Mhm.
Pooh and I got involved at the same time. He became DC, and I had just been elected president of the association, and I cornered him away from everybody for a whole 3 days, and it made a difference, I think, in the long run. But anyway, he's been very good. He was trained by district people.
I think to Matt's question is how does buying the house alleviate any concerns about a change in leadership at the NRCS?
Because Pooh's been very good to us and getting us money.
I
That
think he
doesn't
means
have-
the ability
does
to
make a
pay a
difference.
loan.
Having an asset.
Having the ability, if there was a loan taken out to buy the house, the ability to pay a loan would be impacted if we were to suddenly have much fewer NRCS
Then
grants.
why isn't that a risky venture then if we're not certain about our income stream in the
It might
future?
be. It's something we have to think about when we think about this whole thing. I mean, I could find out tomorrow that, no, you can't do that. We're not gonna sell you anything. You know, because that was bought as part of Snake Den, so I don't know.
I think I'm with Matt, it's like trying to figure out why you're mentioning Pooh and his pending retirement,
It all-
what that has to do with.
All has to do with our income flow.
Yeah.
So it could happen anytime in a few years that if we had the opportunity, our income stream would be less. So I can't see why we're even entertaining buying the house if we don't have,
If they were willing to sell it to us for $1,
you know, the bank. Well,
might be
okay,
worthwhile.
okay,
Yeah.
in that regard.
Yeah.
But if they want market value.
Well, if they want market value, yeah, I mean, it's probably gonna be out of our sight, but, you know, we're going on the hope that maybe they'll give us a pretty good break, so I don't know.
And is this because you feel that the terms of the lease are not amenable to
No.
investing in the property, or?
What it does is it can limit our being able to get a grant, depending upon who's doing the granting, because they might not do it because we don't own the office, the property, or anything else to back up whatever we're doing.
So if we wanted a grant to make improvements to the property. we
Well,
might-
that's only one thing, but even some of the other grants out there, they want to see an established place that somebody is.
Mhm.
If you've been involved with any of the nonprofit stuff, they always say we want a place of residence for your organization. Otherwise, you can't be in grants.gov or whatever the case might be. Okay, they don't want a PO box. They won't accept a PO box unless you can tell them that, you know, we're working out of Paul's house, but we're using the PO box. Paul doesn't get mail. We can't get, you know.
Exactly. As a tree farm, you know.
So anyway, so that's how it can affect things. I mean, it can slow our ability to get certain grants for stuff.
There's a commerce grant. I assume it's ongoing, it might not be, but a commerce grant called the Readiness Grant. These are modest, not small, but not big funds. Maybe you guys have heard of them for assessing a site for whatever project you happen to be doing. So it could be for a for-profit, it could be for a nonprofit. And I think we went after one a few months ago, just to see what we could do with this property, actually the state property that Southside leases Urban Edge. So I don't know if we did start to come up with a mature project that we wanted to explore the feasibility of, that grant might cover it. Cover that.
Covered like engineering reviews.
Yeah, exploring like exploring the feasibility of.
Are you sure that's the one we're fiscal agenting for the forest school?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Fact of the matter is
But
that,
next year.
you know,
Yeah.
the lease is all right. I mean, we get a good break on the lease,
What's
but
the
the
term
fact
of
of the
it?
matter is we have to do most of the work on the house.
What is it a ground lease?
Is it a one?
Is it a ground lease?
I don't know that word. It's a lease on the house.
A ground lease is
Include the surrounding.
The yard.
The yard.
the ground lease is essentially we're the land is basically we own the house and the improvements on it, and like the state owns the ground. So
No, I don't think it's that.
No.
So the lease requires us to make improvements as our payment.
Yeah.
So some of the improvements are pretty big, like we have to put in a wheelchair access ramp in the next 7 years. That's gonna be extremely expensive.
And they get to sort of, if we ever moved away, they would just keep that.
So anyways, so it's just out there, I'm not trying to force anybody into any decisions or anything else at this point. I want you to keep thinking about it, and I'll keep you up to date, I know things.
Yeah, and the reason I brought up readiness is before we go and buy something or build something big at the, at the place we don't own, it'd be nice to know, is this the best site for NRICD? Maybe there's another site that we should be looking at instead of talking about buying the one we're at, that sort of thing.
We got a spare room in the barn.
Yes, for you?
One of the good things, we won't get into that because we don't need to get into that. This is really a pretty darn good site, considering everything. But anyway, it all comes down to dollars and cents in the long run. And we'll see what happens as it goes along. I'll keep you up. Update on hiring. Go ahead, Molly.
Yeah, we've hired, so Carissa and Allie are both leaving us for exciting new opportunities by the end of the summer. Carissa has been offered a teaching position, and Allie has been offered a fully funded master's program, which is very exciting for her. So we're happy for both of them. Both of them gave me lots of warning, will help train new people, and are leaving on excellent terms. So we definitely wish them all the best. Maybe we'll put together a little luncheon or something for them both to say goodbye. We did have some great folks to interview for our 2 open positions. We have hired 2. They are starting July 8th. Kate and I have a meeting on Thursday to coordinate their training and make sure they have a good first experience before they come here.
So you offered it to both and they both accepted?
They both accepted almost immediately.
Really?
Yeah, nobody tried to negotiate this time.
People love us.
I mean, I understand.
You should.
Fully
You
understand.
should.
And
Anyway,
they're excited. One of them is moving to Warwick. One of them is like asking questions like, what should I wear? They're excited. It's good. It's good hires.
Names that you can share yet?
Yes, sure. Because that's public record who we hire, right?
Yep. everything we do is.
Molly Kimball, so we have 2 Mollys, and Maddie Pena, who is a graduate of the Urban Growers Leadership Program.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, definitely.
Who is
Is-
doing what?
He is everything maps.
We are
I
going
love-
to figure that out Thursday.
Oh,
He
okay.
loves maps. He loves doing maps. He even-
Maddie does go by they.
Huh?
Maddie goes by they.
Oh, so
Is it MATT or MADD?
MATTY.
And even bought it, they even bought themselves a Arc Pro.
Oh, wow.
Because regular Arc stuff just wasn't doing it for them.
It does sound like they got a deal on it. Somehow they were only paying like $100.
Sharing a license.
In any case, I think
Anyway,
they'll both do well and be a good fit to the team.
yeah, I mean, we could have hired anybody, they would have been fine.
Yeah, we had some good candidates. I shared some
Now,
resumes
food,
with
stop
Gina Fuller for her.
stealing people,
But we
Which would
wanted
help
somebody
the
that knew how to use
which I'll get to
telephone.
eventually.
Turns out everybody we talk to loves telephone.
Okay, that's huge.
well,
That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, we asked that and both have seemed quite outgoing.
we got a lot of
They're gonna be
extroverts. around.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So they're filling me in because I wasn't able to participate in the interviews as I had wanted to. And so some of my feedback was, if you can get someone who is, not an extrovert, but is stronger in the extroversion because of all the customer service that we have to do, and someone who isn't afraid to pick up the phone and make some phone calls, because generationally, there are some younger folks who would
They're
much
both
prefer
extroverts.
texts and,
Or
and
just
so
nothing.
just the,
supposed to-
the nature of the job.
They're very much easygoing.
Yeah.
They can talk up
Awesome.
a storm.
Customer service.
Thanks. Yes, I'm
So we
excited.
will have a little overlap. So we'll have a little time where we have our 2 old ones and our 2 old ag techs and our 2 who will be leaving and our 2 newer ag techs. So that's like a little bit of a harder drain on some of our grants, but I think it's gonna be worth it in the long time, and I'm pretty confident we can absorb it.
Do you have space for everybody?
No, not at NRCS, but that should be
NRCS is
improving
moving
soon.
starting in
Yeah.
October, so they'll end up having lots of space.
Oh, have they been working on the space?
It's all finished
Yeah.
except for the details.
So the plan that I've been told anyway is that there's, I don't know if you've had the privilege of being to NRCS or not in Warwick, but there's currently one level where state office and engineering is on one side of the hall and the field office and programs and resource team. So there's other divisions on this side of the hall. And we just keep growing on this side of the hall with more staff. And so the state office is gonna move to the floor above, so there'll be a little bit of separation. And then some of the folks who are over here will move.
And programs,
Yeah, so there'll be some shuffling.
they're all moving upstairs, but they're
Is there
moving
gonna be like a
one step at a
reception
time.
area?
Yes.
Because
Well,
sometimes you walk down the hall and you can't get in there.
No, you
I
can't.
know,
And like,
They
hello,
keep on
I
changing
feel like
the
I'm at
foundations.
big
Don't
box
know.
commercial.
well,
you
you're,
know?
I know,
I
you should
know.
be, you know,
Just walk into Pooh's office and say, "Let me in."
no,
Yeah, he was telling me today that they'll start with the state office itself upstairs, October probably. And then some time, and then engineering goes, and then some time, and then programs goes.
so hopefully there'll be more working stations because as it stands, the partner planners, soil accounts are like sharing spaces and it needs a better layout.
We do have workspace at our office in Knoxville too, so it will be okay.
So because it mentions hiring in here, let me take care of one thing that I learned today.
Sure.
It's been a little bit of a problem with NRCS training people. And so I talked to Pooh today and I said, "Hey Pooh, you know, you guys are so busy, you can't train anybody. Southern's lost a couple of people already because they sit around and do nothing. Once they first get, you gotta do something about training. You gotta put together some kind of training." And he said to me, "Well, you know, the district should be doing training too." And I said, "We're doing training, but we can't do everything. I mean, there are things that are very particular to NRCS that our people shouldn't be trying to train people on. And, you know, there should be something in writing so that everybody knows what's supposed to happen." And
He agreed?
he agreed. Once it happened, when it's gonna happen, I don't know for sure.
No,
But that's the last thing he said to me when we parted company, that he said he would get to work.
okay. That seems counter to what I felt the sentiment at the meeting.
Yeah,
Well, sometimes you just gotta have a lunch.
Great.
but hopefully it will even just, I think a simple what to expect in your first week at the Warwick office. Here's where you eat lunch. Here's who you ask your questions to. Here's where you sit. And that would be a huge thing.
Well, I
That's
told him,
that's orientation. That's not
Right.
training.
yeah, well, it's a training because nobody understands us, meaning both NRCS and district. I mean, even the people we hire really don't understand us, even though they look at the websites and things like that.
Yeah.
They don't understand.
I mean, I've created a district orientation that I give on the first days.
And
Justin May's cohort was the first one to go through it. I don't know, was it helpful?
Yeah, and it's like all those different pamphlets and
Yeah.
where he and things like that.
I suggested to him that he get the DCs involved and the district managers involved. You know,
Yeah, it would be
he
good.
was saying that unfortunately NRCS in Rhode Island doesn't have some of the technicians that other states do, which can free people up in order to do training and have a training supervisor. That's all they do. And there are states where they just have somebody who trains all the time. And I said, that's fine, but you got to take what you've got. And I said, you've got to get some training, and it's got to go both ways. I said, you know, Northern did a lot of our own training for NRCS stuff when we had the people to do it. I said, but you've stolen everybody. We haven't got those people anymore. So anyway, that's where it ended up. So keep your fingers crossed.
So how do we hold them accountable?
I have a lunch with him every month.
That's it.
Yeah, we asked about it periodically.
Well, I would say as a result of, oh, I hope I'm not speaking out here. As a result of the meeting that the district conservationists and district managers had with Pooh last week, a week before, yeah, I don't know. And I feel like Molly and I, we have, some growth to make, but I feel like she and I are communicating really well about staff. And so the fact that now I know 2 people are starting on July, we'll have a plan together, we'll know what we're doing. Even for the new NRCS staff, they won't start July, but I agreed with all the sentiments that were being shared at that meeting, that people need to come in knowing what to expect. And there was some pushback. So I'm glad to hear what you just said.
And I certainly do keep my first week a good chunk of my time free. So if there's nothing to do, I can take them to the snake den and show them some cool stuff. Who seemed to think we weren't wanting to do that, but I'm totally planning to do that,
Well,
Spend a good
I
time.
made the point that you do a lot of training. There's a lot of training to be done, but each group needs to do some of their own training to everybody, not just certain people.
And there's a
So,
lot of ag learn. We typically have new hires do a lot of ag learn because they can do that from a non-NRCS computer before their federal computer.
and he complained that NRCS people are changing over all the time too, and that's true. But I'm sorry, I mean,
Yeah.
that's even more reason to have some kind of training.
And there's research that folks are more likely to stay in a job where they receive good training and good
Oh, yeah.
feedback. People don't like to be at work not knowing what to do or expect.
Happiness in the workplace is a very important.
They might still leave for life reasons as we're facing now, and that's okay, but give them every opportunity to stick around is sort of my,
And I point blank said to him when we had the MO, whatever you wanted to call it, the group on planning together and everything, one of the biggest things was training.
Yeah.
And he agreed with all of it back then. I said, it's time for you to put up. So,
Your point about accountability is a good one. And so I think I was trying to answer, Molly and I are gonna drill down
We
on
can do
that and make sure that we're,
Yeah,
at least for Northern.
because you're doing the scheduling math, like you need to have people up to speed at a certain date, I imagine, in order to.
I mean, it's really a year before they're like independent.
Yeah.
But I wanna see them incrementally become more independent. So like
you want to see them what?
more incrementally independent to be able to have responsibility, because I feel like that gives them value
Mhm.
in coming to work. Which I've been trying to do with the pathways interns, who are also not primarily, like they're supposed to be working statewide, but nobody seems to be giving them anything, so they're working in Northern.
Well, he also admitted that, you guys are way behind on signature authority and everything too. And he says, I understand that. And he says, we've got to do something about that too. So, I think that part of it was he knows that it needed to happen, but because of all the pressure you guys have been under, he's been kind of ignoring it. But now that somebody else, meaning you guys and then me too, have brought it up, he's willing to go for it. So again, keep your fingers crossed. Okay, reports. Snake Den Farm. Tell us all about the.
yeah,
Problems.
I offered to present this for Marina because she just got back from her trip to Portugal where she also got sick. So I was like, you rest, this is okay. So an irrigation pipe, and also Matt and Dick have both already received some briefing on this situation. An irrigation pipe at the farm that serves only farmer leaseholds broke. Basically, it was probably installed by prior farm owners very close to the surface of the road, got driven on repeatedly for many years. It wasn't in the path of the tulip parking, but still, these things happen over time. The pipe cracked, and so this pipe services the former Endless Farm leasehold that is now farmed by our new tenants.
Daily Farm, Chai and Lane.
Yes, as well as the farm manager's own small plot / large garden. So they, Chai and Lang have a pump that allowed them to irrigate from the river. So they're okay for the time being, but this does have to get fixed with relative speed. Because it won't, I guess that solution is not a permanent solution. And so this broke the day they flew to Portugal or the day before. And they are back now, but did not have time to get quotes before the board meeting. And so I was hoping that the board might authorize myself or Dick or both of us to approve expenditures on this as they come along, following the standard. They will need to be a licensed and bonded contractor if they're doing any work. I guess one of the potential people who could do some of the work is the farm manager, Mark, who is a licensed and bonded general contractor. But it would be above and beyond the scope we would have to pay him.
And it turns out that it was probably hit by a snowplow somewhere.
It's gonna happen.
And it should never have been where it is, presumably, to begin with, so. But
That's the only place it can go.
Oh, okay.
can't move
Can it
either
go
way.
deeper?
It's fine. It's just old. It just needs, it just needs to be replaced.
So
It's
anyway,
not hard. It's an easy job. You don't need a lot of special skills.
Marina said it's a relatively easy fix. They've got the money in the farm
Yeah.
account to take care of it. Shouldn't be that expensive in the long run. She just hasn't had a chance to get on it.
Yeah, I'm guessing unless Marcus is busy, you're not going to need to hire somebody. What we're talking to Mark.
Well, theoretically speaking, they should get a couple of quotes anyway.
I've heard different things, Matt. People tell me it's no big deal, and then people tell me, I doubt it'll be more than 10,000. So I don't
10,000?
know, because they have to rent the excavator and they're nervous about the price of that.
All right. Then I talked to Mark today and I said,
Oh, okay.
I think you got this. I can talk it through step by step if you need to.
Okay, cool.
I know all that the system intimately, and it's just a sleeve under the driveway. Just a simple thing just to take down, maybe that much.
Okay.
And so,
Do they evacuate the line in the winter?
yeah, it's a seasonal line. It's just for irrigation. Yeah.
Well, okay, but I mean, some people just don't even think about, pushing all the water out
You
and,
better get a new farm manager if they're not thinking about that.
well, what can I tell you? You
So
know,
it's not 4 feet under the driveway.
No, it's not frost free at all.
Mhm.
It's just
It's at the driveway.
But
You can
you
see
can,
it.
yeah, it's
Oh.
been visible for years. It's an
Yeah.
iron pipe that the Danes put in years ago. They ran there.
Really
well,
not
if they
shocking.
can put that lower, they should put it lower. But anyway, back to the original idea behind this whole thing. Number one, remember, this is state property and we should not just say that if Mark says, yes, I can do it, we shouldn't just say, yeah, go ahead and do it, Mark. I mean, they really should get at least one more bid, if not two.
We put pipe all over that farm already.
I'm just telling you.
Well, I'm thinking if it's a job beyond the normal farm manager duties,
Yeah.
for which there would be an extra paycheck. We get his bid, we get a few other bids.
I don't want him to say yes just because he's the farm manager.
Right, it's
And have him push
complicated.
himself.
It's
But-
complicated.
I just want to keep an eye out because if somebody wants $10,000, they're ripping us off. That's-
Yeah, no, maybe Marina's was like, it could be $10,000, it could be $2,000. She's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think she's nervous that they're gonna get in there because it's so old, just find something weird.
Is the whole thing hard pipe or is there,
No. It's an iron pipe
yeah,
that the Danes used as a sleeve, as a conduit
Mhm.
under the driveway. They ran their gray water through it, which is 3 or 4 inch PVC. That's abandoned. We cut that off when we got the place. And they ran black poly through it, just like an 1.5 inch line. I think we've done some work on it in the past already. I think we might have replaced that black poly at some point, I can't remember. And we definitely connected to it on the other side. So basically, yeah, like I said, that iron pipe is visible. That's just a conduit. So that comes out and they would probably replace it with ABS pipe. And the thing is finding the leak. There's like a leak somewhere. They don't know where it is. It might be in that conduit. It might be somewhere between the road and the house. But
There's a leak additional to the leak you can see.
he said that he thought he could see it. But when he investigated further, he realized that was just the water coming through and the leak is somewhere else.
Got it.
Okay. So somebody's got to get in there.
So anyway, I'm here
But
to
the
help
question is,
and they can talk to me all they want.
So you need a motion to approve, one of you approving a reasonable estimate to get the work done by a qualified vendor, whether it's farm manager or not.
correct.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Any discussion for here on? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Who? You didn't say who. You just said you guys.
Oh,
I don't want it to be me anymore, so it's you.
Don't want to say you anymore.
So,
I
yeah,
thought the proposal was that Molly and/or Molly.
Molly and or Dick, but if it comes to Molly, Molly's gonna make sure either Dick or Matt is said, yeah, that makes sense.
Like I'm saying, I often don't get called in, but I'm here to help. I know everything about that farm.
You're getting called in on this one.
Why don't you say me or Matt?
I'll amend my motion to specify that it would be either Dick and/or Matt who would review and approve this.
Okay, well, I suppose we should do this the right way. So, we have an amendment to the motion. We have to vote on the amendment first. So all those in favor of Mark's amendment stating Mark and myself signify by saying aye.
It's Matt.
What did I say?
Don't you
Didn't I
want
say
to do it?
Matt?
You should do it.
You said Mark.
Okay, I'm sorry, Matt.
There's a lot of Marks involved.
Matt and myself. Matt and myself, all those signify by saying aye. Aye.
Right.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, so the amendment is carried. And now we have to vote on the original motion. All those in favor of the original, I suppose I have to say this first. If you vote on the original motion, it means it probably becomes Molly and me. So if you want Matt and me, you should say no to the original motion.
I amended the motion. We approved the amendment of the motion. Just move on the motion, vote and
I'm
approve.
just saying, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed.
What are we voting on?
I think he's right.
Confusing.
I
I
don't think
think
so.
you
Why are you
amended the
complicating
motion, so now you're voting on it being Dick and
All right,
Matt.
fine. Write it down any way you want to, Trent.
I think we're all in agreement here, and yes,
That
that's.
doesn't make any difference if we're in agreement. It makes a difference if somebody in the state reads it and says, what the hell is this all about? That's all. Never mind, it's fine.
Can you read back the approved motion, just to make sure that we're all on the same
I
page?
first have that Mark moves to allow Molly and Dick and or Matt to get an estimate for the pipe replacement. That second, then I have amendment to have it be Matt and Dick, and then I have unanimous.
Yes.
And then I have a motion, Dick and Matt for estimate, which is like shorthand for it. Which is-
As long as it's clear on the minutes.
Yeah.
we're good.
Okay,
I'll
moving
write it
on.
out as a sentence.
Report by Kate.
All right, I have another brief update for you. Just highlighting a couple things, no brats today, again. I'm always trying to figure out what you guys are gonna be interested in from the NRCS side of things. So we have 132 applications across all the program areas that have been approved and obligated in Providence County this fiscal year so far. That's a lot of applications.
Yeah.
I haven't done all the math for how many dollars, but I will get that to you when the time comes. We just got, yesterday, the round 3 pre-approvals. So the 132 doesn't include round 3 that was just submitted. So we're gonna have even more applications that get pre-approved or more money that goes to Providence County. Yes,
Yikes.
we're awesome.
Did you get a lot
You
of
are awesome.
applications then in this
Yes.
third round?
You're tired.
Yes, and we are gonna have a backlog, as far as I know, for next fiscal year, which is really good. Because I believe we're gonna try and start having more, like as soon as possible after October 1st. Start using fiscal year 25 money, like get it rolled out, yeah, sooner. So that we're not
That's
in
what
like
Clue said
August.
today, you should have to wait until the new year to.
Yeah.
Hit the IRA.
So I did want to say that the thank you, Molly and board, for allowing the Northern District partner planners to essentially just lock in on the NRCS work because they've been instrumental in us in Providence County successfully submitting all of our ranked applications.
Question, Kate,
Mm.
do you know how the other 2 districts did? Are they like up like the same percentage or?
I don't know percentage wise, they have had more applications this year than in the past, but Providence County exceeds, pretty significantly. I say that with a little robustness, and it's probably true, but the Southern District has, obviously the oysters take up a lot of their time and finances. So, but those are all the same, like same plan.
Yeah.
Everything. So the assessment's the same. So Providence County has had a hard go. But the district staff has been really helpful, and Ally picked up the ball on several this last round. She's been really helpful, and even though Carissa's like moving on, she's still been invested, and I've appreciated that very much. The state technical team meeting was announced, and you probably got an email about that already.
Yeah.
So that's scheduled for July 18th at 9:30. So if you didn't get that email, put it on your calendar. There's no agenda yet, but that's forthcoming. And I'll be participating just at least to listen, because I feel like those can be useful things, and I hope you guys will do that. I learned today that Chief Terry Cosby is scheduled to visit Rhode Island in mid-September.
Oh, great.
It's September now, so in another month it'll be October.
Probably.
Delay.
Does he? Or was it supposed to be
I
August?
don't know, according to what it sounds like.
At one point it was May.
Oh, okay.
It started
Well,
in May.
So we got an email, the district conservationist received an email today asking, for 2 sites that we want to put forward. And I actually wanted to ask you guys, because we're getting, Eastern and Southern suggested a couple of sites, and I was like, well, I want to give the chief like the broad spectrum of like where our best conservation happens in each of the counties. So Providence, I wanted to use our urban sector and also our forestry sector. And so I was thinking about using Urban Edge because, and I don't know, I wanted to get your opinion about whether,
In September?
yeah, like have I assume like a farm tour where we would take him. So the chief of NRCS is like the highest person under the Secretary of Agriculture. And the fact that he's coming to Rhode Island is kind of a big deal. He's a really nice guy. So we want to showcase how we're using our programs. And he's the one who has mandated that our urban and small farms receive focus and are serviced better than they have been. So it's, I'm really proud of the way that Providence County we had a big lift this year with all the urban producers.
Yeah.
There's still more work to do, but yeah.
That's good timing because the land trust rally is around that time too. So we are going to clean up the farms
Okay.
to prepare for those tours.
Oh, is it coming to Providence?
Yes.
September?
Yeah. you
What's
know?
coming to Providence? The Land Trust Rally. It's like a big national things for the Land Trust, like Kate's organization. They're all.
Yeah, so farm visit at the time, pretty good.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So I guess I kind of, I'm putting the bug in your ear because I will, the district folks can be in reception of Chief Cosby and show
So-
him around. I
So
was
what's the
thinking-
start? I mean, Urban Edge, we're not doing anything really with, so,
That's not true.
well,
Sam Tebow is engaged them in the RCPP program.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah,
so
big
where, are you talking about a reception at Urban Edge, or are you talking about some other kind of reception that he wants to meet everybody and?
Oh, I use that word probably in a different way. I just meant if you guys could, or some representatives could meet us at whatever farm to receive him and say hello. We're the partners and this is kind of what we do. Because the Urban Edge, but I guess Good Earth also has like some RCPP money.
No,
No. So yeah, Urban Edge came to mind because of the forestry work that's going on there, the more engineering road stuff, and then
Yes.
all the growers have,
CSP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drainage roads. Yeah.
So-
High tunnels are always a thing, you know, obviously.
Right. So I thought more information to come, but that came to mind. And also Rifco, only because you've done some forestry work and also the
Slash wall.
yeah, thank you. I'm like the wall
Oh,
of
slash-
wood.
The wall is
Wall.
wood.
Take down that wall, Bob.
The wall was not funded.
No, I know it was not.
We paid for that ourselves. However, that practice has now been adopted by NRCS.
Cool.
It's not, there's no slash wall practice, but it's protection of regeneration. And it covers that.
How does our wall look? I mean, is it
It's,
starting to-
this is the 5th year. We put that in 2020.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't hop over it. But
Can a deer?
a deer can definitely.
Deer can do anything.
But then how's the regen?
But the regen, I mean, because it's two different adjacent patches. One is like a lawn, unprotected side, it's just mowed clean. Huckleberry bushes, kind of. And the other's just got saplings 10 feet high.
Oh, cool. Nice.
And I guess I was thinking of those two areas also because of like the partnerships that have been developed, not only between NRCS and the organizations, but also just amongst, like, there's so many people who are part of Rifco, there's so many people who are part of Southside and Urban Edge. So those are some of my thoughts. If you have other ideas,
It's not far west.
totally open to it.
Foster.
Yeah,
Those are good.
totally. And we've got, Eco Grant and
I always kind of like the Fortune property for forestry. It's just so cool. And they do CSP and stuff, but I still haven't been to see the slash wall, so that could be just as cool.
And I mean, I know we've, was it the last chief? I don't know. Did he come before Cosby or?
Crosby never came, no.
No, okay, but we have taken folks to Snake Den.
Oh,
I think I just felt like there was more going on at Urban Edge.
That's
Um,
fine, yeah, that's fine.
The Rifco visit could be a good way to kindly and respectfully engage the chief in a conversation about the deer browse pressure and how severe it is, and anything NRCS can do to help is so appreciated.
Yeah.
Because they're just not seeing that from other parts of the country where they're actively trying to encourage deer because they want more of them. Yeah, when I went to Nebraska, everyone's like, oh, this is, deer habitat creation practice.
Oh, gosh.
And I'm like,
Take them.
what?
Take them.
Yeah.
You want them? They're like, yeah, for hunting. I'm like, yeah, but okay.
maybe we need to put them on.
I was in North Carolina, they were importing deer to hunt. wolves.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
Take them from here.
Yeah, because a lot of the indigenous people, use deer not only to hunt and eat, but for other reasons too. Yeah, they didn't have enough deer to hunt.
And then are they interested in BWP at all? The visitors?
I am kind of assuming something. And my assumption is that that's gonna probably be a totally separate day where that the Daryl, the state engineer, kind of dictates where they go. So I'm sure, did that come up in conversation?
That didn't go well.
Because I mean, that is definitely a showcase.
When did he get notified? This morning or this afternoon?
I got the email this morning.
Oh, okay, no, he didn't go.
So,
That's okay, that doesn't make a difference. But yeah, if they ask for, they ask for EWP stuff, we'll talk to them about East Providence. I mean, that's a glory project for NRCS and the districts.
And let dates when you have them. For whatever reason, September is hopping.
okay,
Yeah.
tentatively, I believe 14 through 16.
Oh, I think that's when the bunches.
I got that date from Julie, but knowing how things change, right?
Yeah.
I was like, just put mid.
Like the land trust gathering.
Is that the same week?
I think it might be, but that's okay. The only thing is,
He's coming on a Saturday?
we do
Yeah,
have,
Sunday.
All right, I'm wrong.
just May, I did get an email from someone who may be having trouble with the YouTube.
Oh.
We've got a viewer.
40130, well, I'm not gonna actually say their, phone number out loud. But viewer, if we missed you and you're having trouble, we are sorry.
Yeah,
This
there's
is our
no.
first time doing this. We
Yes, I'm
appreciate-
sorry. I've been checking the chat, but there was nothing on here. It's weird.
Oh, no, 16 through 18.
That does sound close to the rally.
It is, and so Sam, who would be involved in both of these things, I actually encouraged her and she has signed up for one of those level 2 trainings. That they're offering,
Who's they?
and RCS is offering them specifically for partners.
Yeah, I got an email and I can't find it. Who sent me that email?
Dick,
They did?
yeah,
Just looking for that.
conservation planning part 2, so she registered under the assumption she can get her level 1 by then, which I think she probably can if they offer what she needs.
And if she can't, today, but I'm gonna tell her to send me stuff so I can ask her later.
Oh, good, because I think that'd be good.
So you're doing training right now?
The last thing I just want you to know is that the posting to backfill Annie's vacancy
Oh, it's Dina, hi Dina.
posted. But it's been extended to July 1st, so I still don't have the panel. That's all.
Can't replace Annie.
Anything left?
She moved on to the programs team.
Oh, okay. I'm
She's
sorry.
Enjoying your
Yeah.
job.
I think so. She is.
And Pooh still can't find anybody to be a secretary.
Oh, really? He still hasn't found the
Nope, he's
executive
gone through
assistant?
2 rounds.
That's a shame, but hopefully he'll find the right person. That's
Can't
such
find
an
anybody
important
who's
role.
got the kind of experience he needs.
Yeah, that's gotta be an important
What's
job,
the job
high
like that
responsibility.
Huh?
No.
Not
I think it's decent. I think it's like GS 9 or 11.
That's it, the Secretary of
For you.
Food, so personal.
Yeah.
Secretary for Food.
I never got back to you.
Agents.
No, it's basically the secretary. It's the administrative office, but that's really the example. All right, is that it, Kate?
That is.
All
Thank
right.
you for listening.
Moving on.
Thank you, it's great work.
Moving on, Rhode Island State Conservation Committee, wow, we haven't had a meeting since the last time, so there's
Oh, no.
not a whole lot to say, so.
Would this be an appropriate time to make sure everybody knows that the governor's signed budget does include our full ask for $180,000?
This would be a very good
I
time.
love to hear that.
For the conservation districts and the state committee, that to Northern District will represent a $20,000 increase next year in unrestricted funds,
Oh, wow.
which we'll be discussing
That all
further.
passed, it's
under new
passed,
business.
it's law, we got the money, this, and not only, as Molly says, does the district, each district get 50,000, but the state committee will now have 30,000 in order, because we couldn't even pay the new accounting software that we had to buy for the state committee, so I twisted Cassius's arm and the association paid for it, but now they'll be able to pay for their own software. That's a good thing.
That's all good news.
It's all good news.
And
Excellent.
state committee led the charge on that.
Good work to those of you who went to the state house and did your thing.
And yeah,
It
thank
was
you.
interesting.
Thank you.
Matt
I'll take-
came,
Thank you, Molly.
Matt engaged some of his South Side colleagues to provide testimony, which was very appreciated
wow.
as well. And
Gotta get some outside people.
yeah, we were very lucky to get a budget increase in times like this. And I think it's because we could show that we're a good value to the taxpayer by bringing in more money than we take.
And we brought in several legislators to the fold who got behind us.
Yeah. And I think you spoke to, the enabling legislation a little bit, which was good, giving some, remind them that we're part of the apparatus, they should fund us.
Yeah, actually, we found a good way to do it. We don't need 1,000 people to get in there and say anything, but at one point, we had 3 of us, and I talked about state committee background and not having any money to do what we were supposed to do, even though there was an increase last year. Molly talked about a certain part, and
I talked,
Sarah talked about a certain part,
yeah,
and Matt was there to talk from the farmer point of view also. So I think we hit a good way of dealing with it, but
and if someone has a family thing and can't go that night, it's not a huge deal if we all go when we can. Like Gina had something come up for the second night, but she was
and
there the
letters
first
do
night.
help.
Letters do help.
So, try to get some more legislators into the fold this coming year.
Yeah,
Whoopie, we get to start all over again. So it's a good thing, and we keep going and get people to, and the state committee has some ideas about, what to do in the future too, so keep you abreast of that as things unfold. I didn't miss anything. Backyard beautification ideas. Dina?
Paul has a report.
Oh.
That's RCD.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, yeah, I forgot. There's the whole section there.
I
Why
did-
didn't pass it on?
RCD, yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
We had a program
Thank
last night with the Wild Plant Society and a tour, so that was very well attended over at the North Situate Library. We have this program coming up with Bob Lawson on Stone by Stone, similar to what we did with the Wesel program. And it would be, you can just, use the QR code, go right in there and register for it. So that should be very good. We have a walking tour at Audubon on September 23rd. And we were going to schedule culverts at Camp Canonicus, but the camp is closing down November 1st.
Oh,
Are you permanently?
No, I think the season, the season.
oh,
Yeah.
So which is kind of surprising, because I'm trying to get them maybe moving up into October. Then we have other programs coming in next year, so.
Have you per chance talked to Aldersgate?
No, I haven't.
And I don't know with the new owners that it would get you anywhere, but they have a lot of stuff going on there to some extent too.
How much does it cost you?
$16.50, but we're a much larger group. I
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if they would work with you on a weird day in an off season. A group
Okay.
of 20 adults is very different burden on a facility than 400
Yeah.
third graders.
that would,
New owners? Did you say new owners and all this?
We found the new owners to be wonderful to work with.
new
So
managers.
it's not the church anymore?
Well, they're church
They're
affiliated, I
affiliated.
think,
Yeah,
still, but it's different owners.
Okay,
How about the managers?
and they're doing conservation on their woods.
yeah.
Oh, I don't remember, but he's a really nice guy.
Yes.
Very amenable to work with.
Yeah, because they've got an application
Okay.
for a project that was based on the plan that I wrote.
Yeah. It's a cool place for sure.
They got funded.
I don't want to send my kids to camp there. It's beautiful, very idyllic.
I'm sorry, Bob.
That's basically, yes.
We're way off topic.
All right,
We do that.
Rivco, Mark.
Well, we have our summer walk coming up, which I don't know, I've already mentioned last meeting, but I guess it doesn't hurt to talk about it again. We lost a longtime member, a tree farm committee person, about a month ago, Milt Schumacher. Milt, but, yeah, his wife, she's home. She was
Okay.
home last week, and according to their son, she's doing better. She's in physical therapy.
But there's no memorials,
I
nothing.
haven't seen anything. Not every family does that kind of
No.
stuff. Not like us Catholics.
Yeah.
It looks like we have somebody for the grant, for the scholarship.
Yeah, oh yeah, Youth Forestry Award, we got 3 applicants, and we have a really good selection. That we're Hillary Fortune is contacting, we'll award that. That, I don't see it on the thing, do we have anything about our annual meeting? Did we have a date, or did the Eastern District have a date?
Eastern gave us a tentative date,
I haven't heard it.
November. I don't know if I wrote it down, to be honest with you, since it was tentative.
Well, maybe I did.
Because I think a month
Yeah.
ago you said
Second,
that,
November 2nd.
but I kind of was hoping it had been firmed up.
And that'll be at Greenvale,
Yes,
Yes.
it will be a Greenvale.
and it's a Saturday night.
It's a Saturday night.
Saturday night.
Yeah, I did put November 2nd in my phone. Same weekend as last year. It's lovely.
I don't know what that is.
Sarah's
Always stay here up
on time about putting stuff out, doesn't realize that some people make plans ahead of time. But I'm sure we'll hear
right
right
now.
now,
It's
hopefully.
Yeah, I wouldn't hesitate to reach out. She's had a busy time, but I do know that she's been working on this and things are progressing. I'm sure it's gonna be really nice. Greenville's beautiful. They do a lot of weddings there, so they know how to work it.
The new building is all done. Pretty nice. My granddaughter may have her wedding.
Oh, yeah, it's gorgeous, right by the water, but also with like the woodsy New England feel. It's a really cool venue.
Well, my daughter's a little bit worried about what happens if it rains. She doesn't want to do a reception in a tent.
Oh, those tents are like buildings though. They're so good.
Yeah, you try to tell somebody
I don't,
that.
someone told me that.
I'll give you her phone number. You can talk her into
Not on the public record, though.
it. Okay. Summer meeting schedule.
So often we don't have meetings in July and August. We typically will choose one date, try to make it a more low-key meeting, perhaps schedule around board members' vacations. And often it is a potluck held at somebody's house. So if the board would like to do that again, this is our space to pick a date and perhaps a location. Now Paige had offered, they aren't here tonight though, so I don't know if I want to decide on a date without them here to say we're coming. But maybe we could use Paige's place next year, if anyone else, I think you had also offered.
Yeah,
I don't know if
offered to
that's
do.
changed.
No, I'm not gonna do pizza again. My wife was wondering whether or not we're gonna do it.
I wonder if Snake Den Farm might be a good location for us to have them. I know that if the weather's lousy, you can't exactly barge into anybody's building.
You know, it's tougher than it used to be because so much more of that barn space is in use by the leaseholders than it was in the early years.
We'd have to rent a tent.
I would say that's not probably ideal. Would you agree with that, Matt?
There's plenty of water.
You can suck it up right
Suck
off
right off
the
the
dirt. Get out on all fours and drink.
Always helpful.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's up to whatever anybody wants to do, but I'm offering the cook pizza again.
I like pizza.
And we would do, well, in that case, what we would do is we'd set a date and then a rain date.
You got a nice place out there.
It rains on all those functions.
It rained last year and it was
Yeah,
okay.
but, well, the problem behind it was I had to cook a bunch of them in the oven, which is not the same as getting them out of
No.
the wood.
You had a gluten-free crust option, right? I know we have a lot of gluten-free.
And
folks.
actually, I can actually make a gluten-free pizza now.
Cool.
Yep. King Arthur flour and the pizza oven maker have come up with a very good one. I tried it.
Oh, great.
I didn't even mind it too much.
So what date were we thinking of?
I'm sorry?
What date are we thinking of?
We haven't said.
You got a
Oh,
Sunday.
okay, sorry.
Whenever the tomatoes are at their best.
Well, then you tell us. That's your department.
And you gotta bring the tomatoes.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Be your
If I
contribution.
didn't like them, I would.
We could do like an early August, so it's midsummer, not, so things that might need a vote aren't going too long.
Isn't
You
it
gotta
summer
remember
meeting?
that we've got the summer meeting in August, which is the
Oh, yeah.
11th through
The
14th.
main-
Yeah, let's-
big one. the
let's do
national-
July then.
ACD summer meeting in Boston.
I forgot about that.
You should go to that.
Yeah.
Well, who used to take 2 or 3 people, but he doesn't seem to do that anymore. Well, and the problem is that NLCS national office tells him how many people can go to a meeting.
Well, what are the dates of that ACD summer meeting?
It's,
11 through the 14th.
Of August?
Oh, I'm sorry. no.
We should try to do it after that so that people have, if there's anything interesting to talk
But
about.
then it's late for making, it's a long time between now and the end of
it's
August.
probably
Yeah.
fine. We could always call an emergency meeting if there's an emergency.
Just a thought, I don't know.
We typically do it Tuesdays, we stick with it.
Our meeting is Tuesdays,
So if we went with the typical August date, it would be
25th.
August 27th. What if we moved it up to
Oh,
the
that's fine.
20th?
The 20th
Yeah,
on Saturday.
of August?
Oh, August. Oh, okay.
That's a Tuesday.
Okay, Tuesday. Gotcha.
Just putting it out for discussion.
I'm fine with that because I'll be working on my house every day.
They're all the same.
Yeah,
Providing you can move right now.
I'm still trapped in, I'm trapped in it already, yeah.
So 20th is good with everybody?
I'm typing it in.
Is Dina on?
Oh, yeah, Dina.
Yo, Dina, August 20th, you available?
You can text me. Oh, Dina's very busy. That's prime mushroom
She's
time.
busier than most of us. Except for Mark.
Mushrooms on the pizza.
Tina says that works for her.
Thanks, Dina.
Ask her to bring mushrooms.
Yeah, if you got them.
Yeah, bring mushrooms.
And also.
She said she wants mushroom pizza.
Yeah, me too.
Bring the
So,
mushrooms.
You're invited.
Yeah.
Everybody's invited.
Tomatoes, mushrooms.
And
Yeah,
you're welcome to bring a significant other or friend,
or enemy.
as long as they're cool.
And the
And it's
staff,
still a public meeting, so
all-
anyone can
all
come.
the staff. And then, yeah, for anybody who wasn't here before, the meeting is short.
We try to keep it as short as we can. And
Call it to order.
More
If there's any
social.
votes, we'll do votes. Other than that, that's it. Everybody have fun.
we'll do a potluck sign up to bring sides and beverages and things.
Other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. District pizza. Don't put it down. All right, so anything else with the summer schedule?
No, so to clarify, there will be no meeting in July. No regular meeting in July.
And for anybody who
Go to
didn't
the
read
beach.
Molly's email, she's gone.
Gone next week and Friday.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, moving on to backyard beautification by Dina and Matt.
We're all done, it's done.
So I don't think this requires vote necessarily, but I thought other board members might want to chime in. And Dina and Matt were here participating in the interviews and they had some cool ideas to do some nice gardening in the backyard.
I don't even know if we got as far as fleshed out ideas, but
You and I talked about it very shortly before somebody showed up, so.
yeah, we talked about it a little bit. And then Dina was like, oh yeah, why don't we, yeah,
The trees are a mess.
the trees are a mess. The trees are a mess.
One fell down.
Those dead spruce, are there
Yeah.
more of those dead spruce?
Well, there's,
It's just a.
one fell down from the right side and it fell in.
Where the garage used to be?
Yeah, toward the garage. The other ones are dead.
Anyway, we wanted to.
We took one down 2 or 3 years ago with the AmeriCorps kids,
Okay.
I would be willing,
which was a feat.
to show
Those
up
kids
with
were
my
out.
tractor and, you know, to be able to pick them up and push them off, because I think we can push them off to the side.
Then the idea also was to like plant some nice native flowers.
And that would be
Yeah.
wonderful. I
So
mean,
there's some invasive plant control might be.
This is what I'm.
I
So
wonder
this is
if we
what
can get a
I'm.
grant from an RCS.
No, this is what I was
No,
getting at.
we're a government agency, they
We
won't
don't
give us
need,
any
we
money.
don't, we don't get the grant, but the association could get it.
Association could get a grant,
And
yeah.
we could come up with a simple plan to sort of just redo that back area, probably about a half acre back there. Clean up what needs cleaning up, remove what it is we want to remove, and obviously do it as a somewhat educational thing if you can, you know.
Wonder if it could be a people's garden.
Could be a people's garden, yep.
Eastern
and,
applied for people's garden and got one, I think.
Yeah, and so just, we were just talking about like keeping it simple and not going crazy.
Yeah,
but-
I'm not even sure we need a grant. I think we
Yeah.
might need an afternoon and some
What we
willing
need to do is
hands.
be very careful of the cesspool, because that's all we've got. It's
Fine.
well built, it is well built, I will say that, but we don't need to be running heavy equipment back and forth over it, that's why.
Well, it's over to the side,
Well, yeah, but we've got,
so it's
I
avoidable.
would like to be able to find somebody who would give us a really good deal on taking those trees down, because there's nothing but eyesores back there and they get in the way of everything.
It's more, not so much taking the trees down, but like cleaning it up and getting all the.
Well, that's why I'm saying, I think
Shipping
we
it.
can push it over. As long as we don't tell anybody what we're doing.
Oh, regardless,
We're
let's
we're
do
live
that.
on the internet
Let's
right
have that conversation in another
How
forum.
many people are on besides Steve?
Right now, it's just.
When he said bank, he means an extremely dry, flat ground, upland next to the property.
But it, I mean, if we can
Probably you are.
now. Would we need permission from DEM to take the trees down?
Rules.
get, well.
Yes, rules.
Is there
We
anything,
need to follow
is there
them.
anything in the
Well, I-
lease that says that?
I think we have to take them down because they are hazards.
Okay.
If it's not in the lease, I would say no, we don't have to ask.
So I'll accelerate the tree removal research up my to-do list, and then hopefully, once the trees come down, it might create a spot to add some nice, nice plants that I think many of us were saying have some in our garden, so we could kind of split and brick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could even go so far as to do a garden.
This could,
Yeah.
this could be ongoing.
And I know Paul had a nice one. He did it when we had those volunteers like
Yeah.
8 years ago, but just didn't get maintained. That's like someone has to maintain
And
it.
to go
That's
along
part
with
of the
that,
plan.
would anybody like that chain link fence that's back there?
A scrapper would.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, we could. we
That
could
could be
pull-
gone so fast.
We could pull that up, that's not a problem, but, otherwise we get a dumpster, throw it in a dumpster or something.
No,
No,
somebody will.
someone will scrap it.
All right,
Yeah.
that's fine.
But, and I have like 3 people, that I use regularly. If
Nice.
you want to talk to them.
Sure,
Um,
that'd be great.
Yeah,
But again, everybody just has to understand where that septic system is.
Well, it helps that we
Yeah.
know where it is now.
when was, actually, so when was do you have a map? Do you have a map of it?
Well, of where it is, a map, no,
It's
but
at
we
the
do
end
know
of the
where
old
it is.
garage.
Yeah.
And the hemlock trees are before the end of the old garage.
Okay.
We had to hire someone to find it before we did
Huh.
the new lease. And they
Build the.
they
We
were-
had different opinions on where it was.
were funny. They saw it as a fun challenge. They're like, we're gonna find it. And they like had to run a camera through the sewer
Whoa.
line.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we knew where it was when we first moved in here, but then it got all overgrown
Yeah,
and we couldn't find it.
yeah, it was,
I swore I knew where it was, but I could never get there.
in the end, I believe Paul was the one who was correct about its location.
So we know. We know.
Yeah, it was really strange because
But I didn't believe it. I was like, no way.
until we had took down the garage, we had the garage in front of it,
I remember that.
you know?
And it's in excellent working order. Didn't even need to be pumped
No,
after
because
over
we're
10
hardly
years.
using
It really is good, but once we clean everything up back there, I think
Yeah.
everybody's mind, just think about the fact that we ought to try to find some money to put in a real septic system, and we'll, because we're near wetlands, I'm sure we'll have to put in a high-tech system.
Yeah, agreed. I would love to do that. And yeah.
It would be a good demonstration too. We-
Yeah.
Would. We could host a little show off.
And Howie Frederickson got money and we helped him out, and, you know, he could come up and take a look and see what it would cost us and that kind of thing.
I don't know, what do you mean you got money? You got a
A
grant?
high-tech system is not cheap,
Yeah,
you know,
We
if
would
we
need to
could,
get free estimates.
if we could get a break on it somehow or another, and it could be a demonstration area, you know, lots of possibilities there, but just keep it in our minds to see what we can do about it once we take the trees down and see everything.
yeah. So I don't see any opposition to this idea.
No, I
No.
take that as tacit approval to start moving such things along. Doesn't seem to.
So Dana, it's your chore to take all the trees down.
And you know, the real shame is they are hemlocks, you know?
I know.
Oh, yeah, but
They're dead.
She suggests a
Anyway,
plant garden.
Okay,
High
so
visibility.
we'll move on.
I like that idea.
Just a what?
Native plant garden with high visibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Exactly.
And actually,
Yeah.
we can turn around and get a grant from the Wild Plant Society
Absolutely.
to put a native plant garden.
And then RCA.
And the other thing to
No, we
consider
don't have to go
is,
through it.
No, I'm just saying, we can do both.
the other thing
Yeah.
to consider is a parking space with a handicap access to the back door.
Yeah, we might want to figure out the handicap access
That's what I was
first, because
talking-
that's required in our
No,
lease.
you and I talked about it.
Yeah, but you said you didn't want to go
No,
anywhere.
I said we need to take it carefully and make sure we get everything get done.
Go around,
Yeah, that
pocket by the big Norway
we're
spruce.
Right.
required to do that in the next 7 years.
Yeah, I think,
Why can't we use the, so you can try out parking lot?
Maybe we move Dina over here.
Well, you're not the wheelchair.
She's one of the other
Long push.
board members.
Yeah.
so one of the guys.
But I don't think that's part of our problem, to be honest with you. What if we have the access, then we have the access.
I think our bigger problem is long enough.
You just have to get
Well, if we want
off the ground to the back step.
would be.
Having a parking lot.
Dina sent you a message.
Okay.
About it.
Let's move on.
Thanks, Tina.
It's just Dina, by the way. so I just moved her
Update,
up.
veterans housing and farming work. Jen,
So.
you've been waiting very
I know.
patiently.
That's okay. So this has been an ongoing thing I've mentioned to some of you throughout the past few years about this project. I'm working with a veteran farmer from a past participant from the UGLP program in 2022. We've been talking from there till now, essentially about a veterans housing initiative project. So finding a abandoned building of some kind in the city, and then creating housing for veterans and community members, and then also having a farm incubator space and farm business space there, showing people how to farm indoors, farm in urban space, create farm businesses, maybe have some local shop there of some kind, like a farmer's market, local, bring everyone together in the community. So part of the project the past few years have just been looking at what do we need to get this rolling, who are the partners involved, ask a lot of questions, and really figure out what's the chicken and egg situation. So chicken and egg is figuring out grant funding and figuring out location, because you can't get grants without having the location, but then you can't get a location without funding. So we've been in this situation for a few years now, and again, pulling everyone together for partners and figuring out who's going to do what, who's the financial sponsors for this, and all of that. So right now we're in talks with the old Acer Messer Elementary School with the City of Providence.
To what?
Ace and
The
Messer.
Acer Messer School.
To the west side of Providence by the fire station.
West End.
West End, west
Yeah.
side. Well,
Yeah.
we call it the west side.
How do you do W? West End.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're in talks with the City of Providence. We went to go look at the site. I think it was back in January. So we got to go walk through it. It is in big disrepair. It is considered a historic building, part of the building. The extension is not considered historic, so we could theoretically demolish that part, but the historic part of the building, we can't. So we're in talks right now to find out, okay, what can we rehab in the building? Can we take down walls? Can we not? What walls can we, etc. And then at the same time, the City of Providence wants a thorough proposal. They really like this concept. They really like this idea. So at this point, we're in the stage of getting a little bit more information from them about the building itself, and then also coming up with a proposal. Part of that proposal, we're working with a few different architects. Thank you. So we're working with them. One of them is Yoshi Kano. Pronunciation of names and words. Okay. But he's a famous architect from Japan, Tokyo, and he has converted a abandoned building before in Tokyo to a office space and urban farm space cooperative.
Is he located, is the same person, is he a farmer in Eastern District?
No. He's from Tokyo. He lives in Tokyo. He has an office in New York.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. And so he came actually with us to go see the Acer Master School. He came from Tokyo, went to his New York office, and then came all the way up here to come see this, since he's very adamant and very excited about this project. So he's working on different designs and ideas and concepts of how this would be like laid out in the building itself. And then the other part of it is that we're thinking this summer is to look for funding, again, for the grants aspect of it, but then also start getting community feedback about what they want to see in this project. So for that, to build up that essentially to do that, get the feedback from the community to build up the proposals to the city to then negotiate the land access for the building. So for the summer, the goal essentially is to work with partners to then coordinate these feedback sessions and video record them, and then propose that to the city as well. So yeah, that's where we're at with this.
Yeah, that's cool. Have you looked only in Providence?
So we've looked in Providence, Pawtucket, Central Falls, and Bristol. Bristol, we were in talks with Bristol, and there were some comments made in the city that we were just like, this is not the space for this. And City of Providence seems really excited about it.
Oh, that's
I
great.
was also going to suggest maybe East Providence, you should talk to some people too. I mean, Gina can write her own ticket to anything she wants in East Providence. Right? So, I mean, if you can find a spot, you just get Gina behind
Bad
it.
time to move.
Huh?
I think the bad time to move.
So Jen's doing this work as like one of the many partners sort of consulting and helping give ideas to the project under our 2501 grant. I don't think anyone is suggesting that we like fiscal agent the purchasing of an apartment building or anything, right? Or-
Yeah, so originally that
Or
was
a
like a
school.
potential, but
Yeah.
at this point, it would just be, so we would be, if anything for a physical agent, would be a smaller, like a grant to maybe get this video recording and funding that URI, because Jason is a graduate or studying as a graduate right now through URI to do this research project is essentially what they're calling it. So URI is giving them some funding,
Oh,
but
cool.
not a lot of funding. So little things we might need to apply for to get this project off the ground, just to do the research side,
Right.
to get the proposal going. So we might propose that soon as like potentially as a financial sponsor for the district to be for this project. But as a whole, if we were to purchase the building, we're also in talks with the West Bay, West Bay.
West Broadway Neighborhood Association.
Thank you.
The people in the mobile space.
Yeah, so they're gonna possibly be the financial sponsor for purchasing the building.
So this sounds pretty much like your site is picked.
Potentially, if they come
80%.
down, yeah, if they come down and the city says with this historical space, there's really not much we can do. We have to keep the same like school, like classroom structure, then it's gonna be a little bit challenging to create small scale apartments. The goal would
What
be
kind
to
of shape
create.
is it in? Just off the top of your head.
It's
Couple of
not in
words.
Have
great
you ever been to a
shape.
public school?
This
It's-
is one they decommissioned.
Yeah.
It's decommissioned, it's falling into disrepair. There were certain sections, they said, like, we can't go into that section. There were also a lot of homeless people in there, so that's another thing to consider when we're recrowding it.
The problem is the historical space. That's what
Yeah,
the problem
That's
is.
a challenge. So that's what we're trying to figure out right
Yeah.
now. He's in talks with the city, trying to get those answers. So he's gotta talk to the historical society to get more
Yeah, get them in
information.
soon
Why
because
is
they
it
don't do
historical
anything
society?
quickly.
Because it's deemed a historical building.
Is
Then
it-
like the
'cause
city
it's
doesn't,
publicly owned.
yeah, and the city doesn't have a specific answer for like what they can and cannot take down.
Yeah.
Um,
So you're dealing with the, sorry to get into the weeds. but
Yeah,
the
no.
State Historic Commission?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I just talked to him today on the phone and he was saying that now he's gotta go and talk with some the historical groups to figure that out.
Yeah, the state ones are the ones where it's,
Yeah,
that's dangerous.
yeah, so
Any
that's
other
kind of a
questions?
challenge for it, but
I'm
yeah,
so sorry.
no.
Any
that's
other
pretty much-
questions for Jen?
My question is about, you mentioned partners, are you seeking partners in what way? Like partners that could potentially collaborate and use the building, or partners to, well, you could probably say.
Kind of a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of a partners to be at the table to give advice, to give thoughts, feedback on perspective of community members, feedback on the ag side as well once this gets going, feedback on the housing side once this gets going. It's and like resources. It's gonna take a village.
The housing, how many people are you thinking of housing and for how long?
So that's, we're looking at small scale right now. It's considered small scale of like 15 units. And part of those might be like family units, and then part of them might be a cooperative space where there are rooms and then they share a kitchen. Really depends again on what we can do with the building, with the design. But essentially what we want to do is use this as a small scale, like show a potential theory to then offset like rent and housing and other costs, food costs, and uplift our veteran community.
And how long are you looking at the possibility of having them stay there before they have to move? to some-
Long-term leases versus short-term leases. That's a discussion based on the community members, and something that we want to have with them and answer those questions. But we don't want to say, oh, we anticipate a year, we anticipate 2
Okay.
years, or,
Fair
and then
enough.
it's not what the community thinks is the best for
Fair
them.
enough. No,
Yeah,
totally
that
understand.
Are you in touch with the Veterans Home in Olneyville?
So yeah, Jason is doing a lot of the veteran communication. He is a veteran, so he's doing most of that communication. I'm here as a support role in providing him resources, looking at funding, and just being an ultimate cheerleader for him right now for this project. And as soon as we start getting with the collaborative efforts of like hearing from farmers, hearing from veterans, and getting that feedback from the community, I think is where my time will be going towards a little bit more on this project. And then after that, maybe supporting him and helping him write the grant for the larger piece and the proposals to the city.
There are some very interesting projects like this throughout the country. I visited one that was like unbelievable. I mean, they had like 80 acres. They built themselves a farm. They had a barn. They had housing space for up to, I think it was like 35 people. And, you know, they would be allowed to come in for a certain amount of time. They'd be taught how to farm, different kinds of farming, et cetera. Then they'd move on their own and go, and that's exactly what it was all about. So, but there's others too that have gotten some pretty good funding to do it. So it's out there, just gotta find it.
And that's what we're kind of trying to figure out, like where those projects were and how they got their funding and how that went about. Because there's a lot of different moving parts to it.
Yeah.
And I think that there could be some cool collab and like overlap between the 2501 grant and this project. And then also, I was talking to Kate and Kate Sales.
Yeah.
And she was saying that there's some housing initiatives going on right now. So I want to look into more about what that is in detail and figure out how that could potentially overlap with this project as well.
And
Good.
you also mentioned the model in Japan is co-op, right?
Yeah.
Is that what he's going
Yes,
for?
it's a like co-op office space. It's not a housing, it's office. So there's a bunch of different office buildings or office spaces that rent from this building. And then there's throughout the building, it's really cool. Maybe I can send you all, or Justin, you can send out, or Molly can send out like the pictures of the building. And then throughout like the hallways and parts of the main entranceway, it's all different agricultural practices. And different like levels have different things in it. Like in the
Cool.
basement, they're doing mushroom farming. In the front floor, they're doing rice farming inside the building. Yeah, it's a really
Mushrooms in the right hallway,
Yeah.
That's neat.
tomatoes in the left
I
hallway.
was picturing like a farm in the gym or something, but like having it more
Farm gym.
integrated is that's cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like you'd walk through the hallway and there's just like lettuce growing in hydroponics through the hallway. And the windows are all grown from like different other plants. They utilize every corner of every space for this building. So the architect is very excited about this project and he's very honored and we are very honored to be able to work with
That's-
him. Yeah.
It's a great thing. Keep us up to date.
Well, and I'll talk more with you, but the reason I mentioned co-ops is because one of the guiding values of urban greens down the street is co-ops helping co-ops. So if they really are committed to starting a co-op,
That would be cool.
urban greens will probably be willing to provide advice and information and connect you with like the Cooperative Development Institute, groups like that.
That would be really cool. Yeah. And I figure we'll do like, once this project gets off the ground, there could be more opportunity for the district to do educational things there and supporting roles with ag and NRCS and a bunch of other resources once this is off the ground. So,
Well-
yeah. And good advertisement.
It's kind of cool because Molly and I and Dina were talking the other day about increasing our partnership with veterans and libraries. So anyway, cool. Very cool. Anybody, anything else? All right, and website changes?
Yeah, so I spoke with Jessime and Jessime spoke with Jen and I got the update on that. So we are finding as we grow that our website, we're wanting some things that our current webmaster just is not able to provide, even though we have asked her. She's declined a few requests that Jessime and Jen have had for functionalities they're looking for. And I just wanted to take a temperature. We last, I think, visited this topic about 5 years ago. I wanted to take a temperature if the board might be open to me getting some quotes from other web designers we might consider working with.
Definitely, yes for me.
I'd say why not? I mean,
Jill has been reasonably priced.
She has.
She's coordinated a bunch of different
All of
organizations, websites, but including a mutual calendar.
Right.
But what is it that where's the capacity
Well, I should mention Eastern and Southern have both left
Oh, man.
many years ago, yes.
Oh,
Well, many years ago, Eastern, Southern more
Squarespace?
recently. No, they worked with web designers, but what I like about, I know this at least about Southerns, they were happy with the designer they worked with, and I think it came in at like under 2,000. But they can make small changes on their own,
right.
which we have somebody with the skill set to make small changes to websites here now. But with Jill's service, that's just not permitted. So like something like adding a workshop to the
She
thing,
has to do it.
she has to
That's what
do
you
it,
say.
yeah.
I remember that.
Adds up over time,
Yeah.
like,
Everything Jill
Even
does is
today.
proprietary, so.
Right,
even like today, I
right. And
just
she has
had-
been good to work with. It's just,
yeah.
I think, I'll let you.
I was just gonna say, like today, I just had to delete some stuff off the website, but which would have taken me like 2 seconds. If I could do it myself and
But
you
you
wouldn't
have
have
to
to pay
email
for
her
someone
and
to
you
do
have
it.
to wait for it.
It'll be
And then
off
we
the
have to
mark.
pay
Download
by
it,
hour, and it's something I could have for like 2 seconds, because it was just like past events that, you know,
Oh, yeah.
weren't relevant. And so for stuff like that, I want to be able to promote more stuff on the website. And so that's emailing Jill more to update the website, and then also emailing Jill to take that stuff down afterwards. And then it kind of just, I was thinking money wise, you know, it might just be cheaper to get a website that we can manage.
So what kind of motion would you be looking for, Molly?
I'm not sure we need one at this site, but I did want to take the temperature of the board because the last time I asked you were very, very against this. So if I'm gonna,
Really?
yeah, yeah, it was a
I
hard.
don't remember ever having a conversation.
I don't either.
You
I
gave me a
remember-
hard
Well, you and I
no.
are old,
I remember
Mark.
the snake, when we were trying to set up a snake den page, me and Kate, this was 2014.
Yeah.
We were like, this is so annoying, like trying to go through this third party and like we couldn't
Yeah.
make changes.
And I don't. So what I'd like to do, and take a look at the Southern District website when you get a chance, and I'll ask Eastern who they use too. But I think they did a total redesign, but also now back end things are easier. Like they can make changes on their own, and like the website came with a template for their email thing, email newsletter that can just like pull things from the website and come up with a template that then you can approve and
Yeah,
Dang
so
it.
like instead of like typing it
yeah.
twice, the website, the designer just kind of takes that info that you have on your calendar and puts it into a newsletter that you can just send out from there.
So you can
Well-
still pay that designer for big changes, but
Yeah.
small wording changes, event postings and stuff you can do yourself.
That's big. And
Well, why don't we say, why don't you figure it out, you know, get some ideas, come back to us with some hardcore ideas and what it would cost and why it's better?
Yeah, I want to get a few quotes for sure, but I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like a hard no before I did that.
Oh.
think we could get it done
We've
before
come a
the-
long ways.
No.
We've come a real long ways in the last 10, 12 years. So it's, you know, sometimes you got to make a change.
Yeah.
Dina also
Every once in a
says,
while.
this is much needed. It's very important to have our online presentation more up to date. Also, we should add more resources and information would be good for our long-term goals.
And
So there you
also
go.
Jen was talking about, I don't know if you wanted to mention the UGLP calendar.
Yeah.
She got kind of started it, but.
We, for accessibility wise, for our program, for UGLP at least, we noticed that a lot of when we're sending out a lot of information at once, like, hey, here's the directions to get to this farm. You're gonna walk this direction here. Don't forget this. It might be a little rainy. Grab a rain jacket. All those little things add up to a large amount of information to send to somebody in a text message. So what we started doing was taking it and putting it into a Google form and then telling everyone, hey, this is a reminder, here's the information, and then here's the link with directions and more details. Please go to this link to read more. And a lot of our growers that we realized at the end of last year were telling us, we didn't realize it until then, don't have Gmail. And therefore they can't access
Right.
Google like a
Yeah,
regular
not everybody
Google
has
Doc.
Gmail.
Yeah, we
Right.
I had to learn that. Everything has to be.
Yeah.
I didn't know you couldn't access it if you didn't have.
I
Gmail.
didn't know either. I thought you could still access it if we put it as like a shareable like PDF or like a Word doc. that people can just view, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
And so creating a more accessible resource, and a lot of them by the end of the program and middle of program, everyone had friends within UGLP, so they were able to share that resource, but we just didn't know about it until the end. And we don't want to do that again this year. We want it to be more accessible for everybody and not have to worry about calling another friend to get that information.
And this new website would allow you to do this.
So long story short, sorry, rambling a little bit, but on the website, our goal would be to be able to put the UGLP information as an advertisement for people to say, hey, you know, with this UGLP program, we're doing this, this, and this for workshops. And then for the UGLP participants, they could go on to the website and then type in like a little UGLP 2024. And then they could actually see directions, locations, times for the event. So we're not getting a giant public attendance, but the participants have access to that somehow.
So
You
I
need
think
a-
I'm reading,
Definition of what UGL.
He's part of the
Oh,
UGL program.
Bro, yeah, I went yesterday from 1 to 3.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just
For the interim.
no
The rest of
acronyms.
us.
Come on, people.
no acronyms. No acronyms on the
All right, too
website,
late in the
none,
game for
zero, not allowed. Okay, but anyway, I think I'm reading the board correctly in that we've got no problem, look into it, come back to us with some hard information.
Will do.
All right. Moving on, RFP on financial review, Molly.
Yeah, this is my next one, which is going to be a similar sort of temperature taking, but with our new money we have been awarded for next year, one of the things I'd like to do is hire an accountant other than Christy, our bookkeeper, to do a financial review, which is kind of like a baby audit. I think it's likely we will need a full audit for the following year. So this would be a good, make sure we're on the right track, make sure there's no glaring issues that we can't address sooner. So I just want to, I don't know, do I need an approval if I'm going to put out an RFP from the board? You know, I would write in the proposal that we have the right to accept or deny any award. So if it was way too high, we wouldn't have to accept it. I don't think it will be. But I do think it'll be a few $1,000s, so I want to go about it properly. So I just wasn't sure what procedure I had to follow for that, which is a thing we're going to need to address, which is we need to have a procurement policy because, we follow the state procurement policy, but we went to the Rhode Island State Conservation Committee handbook when we were asked about procurement for the Rhode Island Association of Conservation District audit. And there's a thing where it says, go to Appendix D for the procurement policy, but then it says this section will be added at a later date. And
Sounds like our website.
well, I will say, if you haven't been on our website in a while, I would say it is
sorry.
not that bad.
That was me.
Jen and I believe Todd was involved. They did do some pretty major work a couple of years ago to give it a more modern look and feel. There's still, it could be improved for sure, but it's not horrible.
It's always an ongoing thing with groups. How do we make things better so that we do the right thing? I mean,
Exactly.
it never ends.
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, it could cost up to $6,000 for a review.
Yeah.
I would say. I think back when we were getting reviews for the association, it was around $3,500, give or take. And I'm sure it's going up. So.
I don't hate that. I think it's the right thing to do at the
Oh, it
size
is the
we're
right
at.
thing to
I
do.
know we've talked about this before,
Yes.
but did we go ahead and put it in the budget? I mean, we went through the budget process a couple months ago.
It was not in the budget you approved last month, but it can be now.
Do we have the discretionary funds?
And the total budget was how
We
much?
do. We do.
The total budget was how much?
Don't
Give
remember.
or take.
It was around $1 million.
Okay, so 10% of that is $100,000, so we don't need to do anything other than say, yeah, go ahead and put out an RFP,
Okay.
because under 10% of what your budget is, you don't necessarily have to change the budget, as long as the feeling is that we've got enough money.
Oh, that's true for us also?
Oh, sure.
I know that's true for
That's a
federal
basic-
grants.
That's a basic theory of good accounting procedure.
Well, we definitely have enough money because it's a,
I know, we got the.
was a slightly positive budget you approved, plus $20,000, plus like at any given time, you know, we have discretionary funds in the bank, which are, that should be there because we want to cover payroll in the event of a government shutdown, et cetera, but
So the feel, you know, what do you guys feel? And Dana, what do you feel? I mean, as long as you guys say, hey, I think it's okay for her to go out and find out.
Yeah.
Well, you have to-
Need a motion to do that, but we'll definitely need,
Need a motion to expend the money, but.
to accept this particular
got it.
proposal.
That's
And
helpful.
happy to circle back between now and August if you need us, you know, to do a vote.
Oh, thank you. I think, well, I mean, any potential bidders would need some time to prepare their response, and we're probably looking at 2 weeks before I get the thing out. So I think
Oh, yeah.
we're lucky if we're choosing a proposal at probably the September board meeting at this rate.
And we're getting into the
End of the calendar fiscal year.
the tax season for
Accountants and stuff.
accountants.
According to Christie, the accountants who do this sort of thing don't usually also do taxes.
Okay.
So it should be fine.
Oh, that's fine. But, I mean, there's no technical rush in the whole thing. We get what we get and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go. Do
Thank
it.
you. Yeah, so, and
And
then procurement, like, I think Sarah's gonna address procurement at the state committee, so we don't necessarily have to address that ourselves, because if they come up with a procurement policy that we can adopt, might as well do it. that way.
And that should come out of the state committee because
It seems appropriate.
basically all the districts should be following what the state committee says financially anyway, so. All right. Any
Dina
correspondence?
says this is a good idea.
Thanks, Tina.
Any correspondence?
No.
Dear district.
No other, well,
Oh,
I would
okay.
put this under correspondence. It was a text message I received, but the district donated a small amount of money toward the memorial bench for Bev Migliori, Eastern District and Association and RC&D and Envirothon board member. And the bench looks very nice. It has a nice memorial plaque.
For $800 a hour.
Is that in Barrington?
At the Barrington Farm School. See, she was lucky to find it that cheap.
I go there once.
Oh, well, check it out.
It's a great little farm.
Yeah, check out the bench. It should be there.
Okay, public, do you have anything you want to say to us?
Yeah, I just had in mind one thing. I was listening earlier about the property and that and the value of property. So you folks are you're profit, right? You're for profit, right?
No,
Nonprofit.
no,
So-
we are a quasi-public agency.
So making the purchase of the house won't serve ever as collateral to the organization, right?
Yes, it would.
It could.
Yes, because
just
we
something
would
else.
own it as an asset.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking when I was listening to the board go through their ideas of purchasing or not purchasing, was if it could serve as collateral one day
Yeah.
as a, ace
Yeah.
in the hole. That's all.
Yeah, it's an asset.
That is a good point. Because nonprofits can take on loans, take on debt. We haven't yet, but they can.
And we can take on assets if we.
Yeah, it would show up on the balance sheet every year
Yeah.
with appreciation or depreciation.
Right.
That's all I had in mind. I mean,
Okay.
other than that,
That's a good point.
looking forward to the UGLP program.
Nice.
Yeah, excited about it.
That's great.
Go Jen.
Hey,
Yeah, it's doing great.
any other public want to say anything? Miss Public down at the other end, would you like to say anything?
Yeah.
So what? She's public.
Residents of Gloucester, Rhode Island.
She's public. There's nothing that
You
says.
declared candidacy yet all this week? Not yet?
What's that?
You running for office or for committee or anything
I
in
am
town?
not.
No?
Are you allowed to?
No.
Oh,
Are
you
you?
She
cannot?
can't with the federal government. but
Yeah, I was endorsed
She
yesterday.
can with the state
Town
government.
sergeant, looking forward to it.
Oh, really?
It'll be my third attempt, Foster.
Okay.
Yeah. I
What do you
have
do as a town sergeant?
you know, throughout the years, I try to figure it out. I know that the incumbent
And
is,
at town
he
meeting-
doesn't leave his
at the budget-
driveway. That's what I've
Right.
heard.
At the town meetings,
At the town
you
budget.
preside. You like, you know,
Like
you
a
open
bailiff?
it, it's. No,
Plus,
it's
you have to
just-
post all the meetings in a variety of spots.
Like the public, maybe the post office or
Yes, that's
things like
basically,
that.
you only have so many public spots in Boston.
Right.
I think
Town
that's,
hall and post office.
I don't know
Yeah.
your platform or anything, but I think it's cool when younger people run for office, so.
Yeah, I'm 46, so.
You're younger for office.
You're younger than some of us are.
I'd say under 60 qualifies as younger.
And I didn't go to any signature parties. When I got on the ballot, I actually went door to door and earned them that way. Because sometimes they get together and mingle, different parties.
Stop at
For
my
these
house, I'll
signature
sign
parties.
it for you.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, we've
Honored.
got
Try to be
a
the
couple
pure
foster residents in this room.
I mean,
Usually we have
Yeah.
3 foster guy.
Sometimes.
You have Rogers.
Really?
Rogers.
Hey, Katie,
You just said-
Katie,
I just want to get one.
you
thing
know that political law only relates to you as it relates to the federal government. It doesn't relate to you as the state government. You can do anything the state you want to.
Okay.
Watch out, Peter.
Duly noted.
In our handbook, district employees are not allowed to run for office, except for
There's the law. and then
party
there's the
committee.
Well, yeah, there can be policy.
Can I just get one thing on the record
Yeah.
on my website?
But people are fighting against it.
I like to brag that the people that work here are tech savvy
Oh, no.
and you know, STEM based. So I just wanted to say, like, we deserve a website that's, you know, up to the times and
Flexible,
has-
yeah, definitely. It sounds like
has the
more
tech.
flexibility.
You know,
We always deserve to move forward.
Yeah.
Rather than.
I like that on his
Motion that we move forward out of here.
Yeah, Jesus.
Second? Do I have a second?
I would second that.
Okay. We're done. We're done.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Jess.
Jen, you want to take my information down so like that?
Oh,
I'm in the loop about
Okay.
the pizza. Cookout. The pizza.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
looking forward to having
Yeah.
the pizza.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I put you on my monthly
Yeah.
board meeting notification list?
Not at all.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
gonna
Hopefully you
give
can
you
have it.
my email, my phone number. Last time I was in a hurry because the boys are karate right now,